I want us to understand that this is the first time in the history of Nigeria where a bold and courageous attempt is made to reconfigure, reset, and rearrange Nigeria's economy that has been parasitic, dormant, and docile.
You know that in development world, or in every society where people pay tax, you find people responsible, you have people question government, you have people participating in the act of governance. But sadly in Nigeria, tax becomes like something new. People begin to see it as an exploitation. But permit me to say that there is a problem that we must address. It's a problem of trust deficit. Because people seem to have questions about leadership. So even when leadership come with milk for them to drink and grow strong, they will be asking whether this milk is not poison. So if we address that, some of this problem we are having today, we can easily address it. But I want to encourage Nigerians that the debate about tax and tax reform should be centered on more about how it affects people than dividing people on either regional line, religious line, or whatever line. I think this is where we are getting so many of these issues wrong. When you are telling me that tax reform is because it is anti-North, and I ask myself, am I not a Northerner? I understand tax, and there's nothing about tax that affects me as a Northerner alone, but tax for Nigerians. We must begin to speak about Nigerians as Nigerians, not about regional people. If not, our progress will be deterred. So thank you for inviting us. We look forward to more engagement.
I thank the government for two things. One, stimulating the national discourse, which for a long time Nigerians are only meant to swallow whatever the government wants. So this is a very positive thing. Secondly, reforms. It's not only in tax we need reforms. I think there is no sector of Nigeria that doesn't need reform.
Tertiary education transfer arose when the crisis of funding of tertiary education became an issue. But you will have noticed that over time, all sorts of things are funded from there. Am I correct, Prof? Even as well, you, Professor, you are angry like me. There is no longer a tertiary education trust fund. Now, all over the world, states are shrinking. The camera I'm holding here is a TV camera, is a clock, is a lot of things. Miniaturization. So instead of expanding institutions, you begin to shrink them. Now, if tertiary education trust fund is good to be a budget and funded platform, as this thing from a, you see, when you have a single access point for development funding that comes from such taxation, it becomes a question of who is entitled, whose name will be on that list. Am I correct? So nothing is really lost in that context. It's a question of better public education.
Public relations is the bridge between governments and the citizens. That effective communication fosters trust and ensures reforms succeed. And finally, that together we can use public relations to transform tax reforms into a tool for national economic renaissance. This is my message.